Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Stories. Today, we are going to talk about 4 options if you can't pay your own closing costs. Hey, Mason.
Hey,
Welcome back. So Mason and I were talking, we want to share this with you. When you purchase a home, it's important to understand you have down payment and you have closing costs. Down payment is pretty straightforward. If it's a VA loan, it's 0. It could be 3.5% for FHA. It could be 10, 20, 30% for conventional. So down payment is one piece. But whenever we purchase a home, there are also closing costs associated with that. And the closing costs, we have a video about closing cost buckets. And what does that mean? So closing costs comprise a lot of different things, but they could be anywhere from, let's say, 3.5 to 5.5% of the purchase price, if that makes sense. So not everybody has enough money to cover their down payment and their closing costs. If you do, that's great. But then the question comes up is, well, can't you get a seller's concession from a seller? Well, sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. Seller certainly isn't obligated to give that to a buyer. Sometimes you can massage the numbers in a way where you up the price to get the credit back and the seller still gets the number. We'll make other videos about that stuff. But anyway, if it's a home that just came on the market, that could be a challenge because a seller may be reluctant to do that if there are a lot of people who are interested in the property, or they may just be willing to wait to see if they can find a simpler transaction, if that makes sense. So we have 4 things we want to share with you today, guys. Mason, what's one creative way that you could potentially cover some of your own or cover the rest of your closing costs if you don't have enough?
retirement account. So if you have that option, depending on where you work, retirement account is a great option to use funds from to pay for your closing costs, or at least some of it.
Yeah, right. So depending, you have to check with your administrator, but we've had lots of clients do that over the years. If you have some funds in there, if there's an exception, this is usually the only exception, which is to purchase a home for yourself to live in. So usually if they allow you to take funds out without a penalty, that's usually the one exception. So check with your plan administrators and say, hey, I'm buying a house. Can I take out some funds to use towards my closing costs? And sometimes that's a great solution. So that's one idea. What else do we have, Mason?
A gift fund. So like from a family member, if someone is able to give you, a few $1,000s, which would be awesome. But yeah, a gift fund is a big one.
Absolutely. Gifts from family members, very, very popular. Hey, we're so excited for you. Let me do this to help you guys with your new house. So important thing to understand with that too is if you're in that process right now and you do have a family member that wants to help, don't take the money yet and put it in your bank account. The mortgage companies have very specific ways that that gift needs to be documented. It's not a problem. It's totally legal and doable, but they want to see and be able to track the funds a certain way. And the reason they have these regulations in place is because they want to make sure that it's not a loan of some type. So if somebody says, hey, I want to give you $5,000 that you can use towards your new home, that's awesome. Just check with your mortgage lender on the appropriate way to document that. So there's 2 ways, right? We had the retirement accounts. We have gifts from a family member. What would be a third of the 4 things that we wanted to share?
I think a big one is the lender credit or the lender paid credit. I see that more and more, I think, now than before. But, sometimes lenders have that option where they can kind of give you something towards your closing cost concession.
Yep, that's always a possibility. And we're not experts in lending. Of course, we have expert lending partners. I don't know exactly what has to happen in the background for them to be able to do this or for you to qualify for this, but that is definitely an option for a lot of people. Sometimes a lender can, I just call it work a little magic. Right?
Yeah.
They can work a little magic, and then all of a sudden there's a lender paid credit showing up on your settlement statement for an extra couple $1,000s. So that's totally cool, right? Totally legal again, totally cool, and sometimes a possibility. So that's 3 things, and now we have 3 things, and now we have one more. What's the 4th thing?
if the buyer qualifies for the New Jersey, I mean, we're talking about New Jersey. I don't know the other states, but the New Jersey grant program.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So we have a special program here in New Jersey for first-time home buyers. There's a whole bunch of different qualifications that are needed behind the scenes, but we've used it many, many times with our preferred lenders. And you guys sitting down? This program actually will give the qualified person up to $10,000 towards the purchase of their home. And actually, it can get applied towards down payment and or closing costs. So it can be applied to the transaction any way the buyer chooses, which is kind of cool, right?
yeah.
So if you're a little light on cash, which seems to be pretty popular in this country right now, those are 4 options to help offset closing costs if a seller is reluctant, or if you're looking at a brand new listing and the seller is certainly reluctant to accept an offer and give you a closing cost credit. We had retirement accounts, right?
Yeah.
We had a gift from a family member. We had a lender credit, and then we had the possibility of utilizing the New Jersey first-time home buyer grant program. There you go. I think the moral of the story here is if you really, really want a house, there's always a way.
It's very true.
Yeah,
Very true.
There's always a way. So we appreciate you guys watching. If you're looking to buy or sell a home here in Southern New Jersey and you're watching on YouTube, our contact information is below. We'd love to help you. If you're looking to buy or sell a home anywhere in the United States, use that same contact information and we'd be happy to make an introduction to a like-minded professional anywhere in the United States through our network. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching.